Okay, 2 watching. Who's here? Let me get my chat up. Open web browser. To see a little bit better. Sweet. Hi, Linda. I'm just getting my chat going. Hold on. Sweet. I couldn't figure out the scheduling, like setting the notification for the schedule. It kept freezing up on me. I'll have to add all the links and stuff in the description afterwards. Krista, if you can, link up the playlist for Spotify in the chat for people. I'll wait a little bit more. We got 6 people here now. How's everybody doing? Say your piece. Say what's up. I'm going to let a couple other people know that we're starting, or that we're going to be starting. Chris is in the house. What's up, buddy? Were you able to get outside for a workout? Let me get some music happening. Doug downloaded like a stock thing for us. I've been messing around with this thing all day long. Ah, sweet. Hi, Monica, Flavio, Aline. How are you? Hope you guys are doing well. We'll get started soon. Might wait a little bit longer. Oh, I need to make Krista a mod. Okay, hold on one sec. Add moderator. Okay, Krista, now you'll be able to post the link. You'll be able to post the link now. I made you a mod in the chat, so you can post links. 12 people, sweet. Welcome everybody. Thanks for coming out. A couple things that I wanted to go over before we start. So for updates on when we're going to be posting our classes, things of that nature, follow Krista Donna Yoga on Instagram. You can subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, and that will send out notifications when we go live or when we upload a new video. Hey Bianca, just saw you pop in. Good to see you. You can, so when we live stream these, if you missed the live stream or if you show up late, don't worry, you can catch it on the replay. So once the live streams finish, YouTube automatically uploads them to my channel, so you'll be able to practice the same flow or the same sequence as much as you want. And we'll also have everything posted up on Krista's website over at kristadonnayoga.com. I can drop the link in the chat, and I'll put all the links as well in the description box of the videos. Give me a second. Yeah, if you guys want to practice to music, just to avoid copyright strikes and all that kind of stuff, we put, hey Jenna, we put our playlist on Spotify. So Krista's going to drop that link in the chat if she hasn't already. So you guys can queue up your own music, you can play it on your devices at home, and then that way there's no risk of us getting like copyright strike on the channel and having videos taken down or demonetized or, you know, all that stuff, because YouTube's lame that way. We have a PayPal link set up in on Krista's webpage. I'll put that link in the description box of the video as well if you guys want to support the channel and support what we're doing. Hi Fran, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. We're going to get started in a second. So make sure you guys have your mats, water bottle, anything else you might need, props and stuff. If you don't have like blocks at home, but maybe you like using blocks, if you have like books that you can kind of stack or something of that nature, that would work. Anything that's like elevated and kind of sturdy can help you. And then in terms of where we were filming, where we were filming the classes, we've been using Ashley Avis Yoga's studio, and I'll drop her link in the description box as well. I'll drop it in the chat quick. Okay, so this is obviously a pilot episode. Any feedback or constructive criticism that you may have, you can let me know in real time in the chat. So in terms of like volume levels and if things are clear for you, just let me know. And any other feedback or constructive criticism in terms of how the queuing is, if it's clear enough, or if you find that what I'm saying is kind of confusing, but I tried my best to kind of structure it the same way that we would do a class in studio at Good Life. So if everybody's ready, give me a thumbs up in the chat and I'll fire it up, and hopefully you guys enjoy. Hopefully you guys enjoy the flow. For a first go, I tried to work off of some things that we were doing in class before all this happened. So hopefully there's some familiarity there for you guys. And yeah, if everything's a go, we can get started. 14 people, that's awesome. Sweet. Ready to go. Okay. I'll minimize this. I'm probably going to take my ugly face off when the video's going, and I'll mute my mic so that you won't hear me talking or anything like that. But if you have questions on modifications or little tips or something, feel free to ask in the chat, and I'll respond in real time. I'll be available to sort of interact with you guys in the chat as we go along. So, without further ado, let's go. And let me know what you think.
Hello everyone, welcome to your first online live stream yoga class. I'm going to try to structure the class how I would similarly in the studio. So you can follow along. Krista's going to be demonstrating some modifications, and I'll be offering maybe some more quote-unquote advanced variations of transitions and of poses. So we're going to begin in our corpse pose and our shavasana as per usual. So Krista will lay down. I'm going to stay seated for this first bit just so that certain things that we're doing I'll demonstrate sitting upwards so that you can kind of get a better view. But for now we'll come onto our backs. You just want to allow yourself to relax. Take a moment to close the eyes. Bring awareness to your breathing. Bring awareness into your body. And so we're just looking to cultivate a greater sense of awareness surrounding the body, surrounding the breath. We want to cultivate that proper headspace for our practice. One that is free from distraction as best we can. And so just letting the mind quiet itself, focusing upon the rhythm of your breath, the rhythm of your heartbeat. I'm just looking to tune in. Follow the rhythm of your inhales and your exhales. I'm just letting the body breathe how it naturally wants to breathe to start. Pay attention to the quality of your cycles of breath. As you begin to tune into the natural rhythm of your breathing, this will become the foundation from which you build and you cultivate your ujjayi breath, as we would call it in yoga. And so this term simply describes a pattern of breathing that becomes deliberately slow, steady, consciously controlled. And so applying that breath management, you want to slow the breath down as much as you can, allow it to lengthen, allow it to increase in terms of depth or of volume, but without forcing anything. So we're not trying to force air into or out of the body, but just allowing the breath to be gentle, allowing the breath to be light, albeit nice and full, nice deep breaths. And so as you inhale, you want to deliberately guide the belly outward, allow the ribs to expand, the chest to lift up. Fill yourselves up until the lungs feel comfortably full. As you exhale, you let the chest fall, the ribs deflate, the tummy softens, guiding the belly inwardly with those exhales. And we'll stay here for 4 or 5 more full cycles of breath. No rush, be patient with your breathing. And we're just making sure that we're engaging in a diaphragmatic pattern of breathing, belly breathing as it were. Last one, inhale, belly, ribs, chest, fill up. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly, empty out. You want to try to maintain this mindful connection to your breath throughout your practice as best you can. When you are ready, you can begin to bring a little bit of life into your corpse pose. You can start to wake the body up, maybe just starting by waking up the hands and the feet, wiggling up the fingers, the toes. If it feels good to progress to rotational movement for the wrists and the ankles, you can go for that, you can explore it. Now, if you're tracing these circles with your joints, you want to apply the same principles to how you move that you did to your breathing. So just as the breathing is deliberately slow, very conscious, we want to do the same in how we move. And from here, we're going to play with some axial rotation, so just beginning to connect to our hips, to our shoulders. And so we'll start with the legs. And so you want to maintain a little bit of dorsiflexion in the ankles so the toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. And you're just going to play with rotating the toes inwardly towards one another. You want to feel that rotation travel all the way up into those hips. This is your internal hip rotation. And we're going to start to rotate toes outwardly from one another. And you want to go as far as you can go with that. Find your limit, find your threshold, try to hold there for a moment or two, and then just sort of traveling between the two positions. When you're ready, integrating the shoulders a little bit with your arms at your sides, you can kind of hover them off of your mat. Just playing with rotating the thumbs downward. And again, you want to feel that rotation travel all the way up into the shoulder. You're creating internal shoulder rotation here. And rotating thumbs up, or depending on your range of motions, the palms may flip to face up, creating external rotation in the shoulders. And so just going back and forth with that. If you wanted to integrate all four limbs together, that's okay, you can play with that. We'll just go for a couple more like that. And then we'll bring the legs together at the center of our mat, arms together overhead. 3 rounds. Deep breath in and begin to lengthen through your whole body, reaching for opposite ends of your mat at once. As you exhale, just let it go. Let the body deflate. 2 more like that. Deep breath in, lengthen, reach, stretch through your whole body, and exhale. Let it go. 1 more, just for good measure. Now, keeping the arms overhead, just bring a bend into the elbows. You want to create cactus arms here. You can stay with open palms, or you can make fists. We're going to play with some capsular cards for our shoulders. And so, beginning to internally rotate the shoulders, you want to start to track the knuckles forward and down, creating internal rotation in the shoulder. Now, as you do this, you want to go as far as you can go without allowing the backside of the shoulder to lift up off of your mat. And then coming to your external rotation, you're going to rotate knuckles up and back. Coming back to your external rotation, you can apply a little bit of downward force into the ground if that feels okay for the shoulders, and we'll go for a few more like that. Just moving with your breath, taking it slow and steady. And then just being aware of if your body begins to compensate and where it compensates. So as you internally rotate, just make sure that the shoulder blade doesn't start to hike up. Posterior side, back side of that shoulder doesn't lift away from the floor. Yeah. Last one here. We'll start to externally rotate the shoulders. You can stay with those cactus arms. Take a bend into the knees, feet flat on your mat. And just beginning to harmonize breath and movement together a little bit more. We're going to begin to create a gentle windshield wiper with the knees, little windshield wiper motion. So as you exhale, the knees will lower down into your side, finding a gentle twist. As you inhale, the knees track back up to center. Exhale to switch sides. So the idea here is just to start moving according to the rhythm of your lungs. And so notice how we need to sort of hold ourselves back to a degree. We need to apply a little bit more awareness surrounding how we're moving our bodies, or rather how the body is creating movement. And if it feels good to linger with your twist at all, there's no rush to come into or out of your twist, but just make sure that when you make the decision to move, that the breath is guiding you. Now, as the knees are swaying side to side, the next time that the knees lower down and to your right, take your right arm overhead and start to roll on to the right side of your body. And we're going to warm the hips up a little bit further. We'll go for some side landing hip cars. And so this acronym I'm using, CARS, it's an acronym for controlled articular rotations, which is a fancy way of saying we're going to be doing some joint circles, but we're going to be doing them with intent, slow, steady, and mindful. So we'll warm up that left hip. You're going to start by drawing that left knee towards the chest, bringing your hip to flexion. Now as you do this, watch for the tendency for your low back to start to round. So you want to try to maintain neutral spine, preventing the pelvis from coupling with the hip as best you can. And so as you start to find that hip flexion, you want to create engagement. You want to feel a little squeeze through the front of that hip crease. Once you feel that engagement of the hip flexors, we're going to start to open the hip up. So tracking the knee, the shin, the toes towards the ceiling. We're creating external rotation and abduction here. And as you do this, try not to allow your shoulder, your ribs, to follow along with the hip. Keep the shoulders stacked one on top of the other. You want to find your end range of motion here, so as far as you can go. From this external rotation, we'll begin to internally rotate the hips. So you're going to start to swing the heel of the foot behind you. The shin will follow. Maintaining your abduction. So you want to maintain that lift away from the ground here. And we're going to begin to extend the hip. So you want to continue to push back through the heel of that foot without straightening the leg and without allowing the low back to arch. You want to start to create some life through the back of the thigh, through the hamstring. I'm just holding here. Maintaining that hip extension, we're going to play with some hip adduction. So you're going to start to draw the knee straight down towards the floor. It's like you're trying to close up the space between your thighs, like you're squeezing in towards your center line. And then we're going to start to pull that knee back in towards the chest to complete our cipher, to complete our hip car. So that's one. We're going to go for another one like that, and then we'll change directions for another two. So you just want to take your time with it, doing your best to isolate that left hip. Yeah. No rush. And so as you do this, you're sort of looking for those ranges of motion that feel most unfamiliar to the body, and you want to try to deliberately slow down and spend a little bit more time in those areas. Or maybe where you start to feel your body compensating, pause in that area, try to correct the compensation, and then continue. Yeah. That's it. So we'll go one more. So we're going to start by extending the hip. So Krista is going to push back through that heel. Again, we want to feel the knee, the thigh, tracking behind the hip. So we reach back a little further. Yeah. So again, we're looking to create life in the hamstring. From here, we're just going to lift straight off. So this is your hip abduction, lifting away from your center line. From here, we externally rotate. Yeah. And in that external rotation, abduction, she's going to try to draw her knee towards her shoulder. We want to create a little bit of flexion here before we close that hip up. So the idea is to challenge your hip to trace the circle in as wide, pain-free range of motion as you can, as slowly and as controlled as you can. Once you complete that last hip rotation, we're going to extend the hip, yeah, creating that, extend the hip, yeah, and come back, to your windshield wipers, And so if you want to let the knees sway side to side here, that's okay. You can go side to side with the knees a few times. When you're ready to switch sides for those hip cars, we'll take the left arm overhead. You're going to roll on to the left side. Now your right hand is going to act as your supporting hand, your kickstand hand, so to speak. And with that right hip, same thing, we'll go two in each direction. So drawing the right knee towards the chest, find your hip flexion, and have a better view of what my low back is doing. So watch for the tendency for the tail to tuck under. You want to try to maintain that natural arch of the low back. Find that hip flexion, you want to feel that squeeze through the front of the hip crease, and then you start to open it up. Knee, shin, toes, traction towards the ceiling. You want to go as far as you can go. Again, without allowing the ribs, the shoulder to follow, to couple with that hip joint. From here we start to internally rotate. As you internally rotate, maintain that hip abduction. Keep lifting away from the ground. As you start to extend the hip, keep pushing back. Once you start to feel that engagement through the hamstring, just pause there. Maybe ask your body for a little bit more hip extension. Maybe check in on the low back. Notice if you're arching the low back at this point. And then we're going to draw the knee straight down, hip abduction. So hugging in towards center line, you want to feel the inner thigh muscles firing in an attempt to pull that knee towards the floor. And then we pull it back in towards the chest. And we complete our first rotation. Again, we'll go for a couple more like that. Yeah, take your time. Keep pushing back. That's it. Straight down. Maintaining that hip extension, we go straight down towards the floor, and back in towards the chest. We'll do two more, but we'll change direction. So going backwards, start by extending the hip. Again, you want to find that end range. So as far as you think you can go, pause there, breathe with it, and then see if you can coax a little bit more hip extension out of the body. Then we start to lift away from the ground. We abduct, so you want to feel the muscles on the outside of the hip and thigh firing to create that lift. And then we start to externally rotate. You got it. From here, we want to create a little bit of flexion. Think about bringing your knee towards your shoulder before you close that hip up. One more like that. No rush, take your time. This last hip rotation, keep the bend in the knee. We're going to extend the hip, so we want to come back to those 90-degree angles within the legs. You can set that right foot down, rolling onto your back. Come back to your windshield wipers. Again, just letting the knees sway side to side. As the knees sway side to side, moving with the breath, we're going to integrate the shoulders a little bit. So again, the next time that your knees lower down and to your right, take that right arm overhead, roll onto your right side. This time press into the left palm and come up to a seated position. Now you want to sit as tall as is comfortable for that left hip. We're coming into our deer pose or our 90-90 position. Integrating the shoulders, taking that left arm, we're going to start to find our forward flexion within the shoulder. Now as you do this, try to make sure that the ribs don't want to push forward, that the spine doesn't extend. You just want to draw the bicep alongside the ear as close as you can get without the spine compensating. From here, we're going to start to internally rotate the shoulder. You're going to rotate palm and elbow away from the body and start to trace that big circle with that left arm. And as you trace that circle, you want to try to prevent twist in the spine, so you want to keep your chest square to that lead leg as best you can. And you want to continue to axially rotate the arm throughout your movement, or the shoulder rather. So you're rotating thumb down, reaching back, cutting that angle as hard as you can. So just like we did with the hip, we want to challenge the shoulder to trace the circle in as wide of a pain-free range of motion as we can, as slowly and as controlled as we can. Now, generally speaking, our shoulders get the least amount of experience, the least amount of stimulus in extension in this sort of general area. So maybe taking a little bit more time there, really trying to slow it down. We'll go for one more, and then we'll add in a bit of an active twist. Yeah. You got it. So if you notice that the ribs start tracking back behind you, you want to pause your movement, try to keep the ribs, the chest square to that lead leg. As you bring that left arm back overhead, we're just going to bring it down to about chest height, and we'll go for our active twist. So that left arm is going to reach towards the back of your mat. You're reaching to the outside of that right thigh. You can bring the left palm down to your mat. You can lower to the right forearm, breathing here. You can hold within your twist if you want to keep it active. You can keep moving with your breath. So as you inhale, lift up, come out of the twist, exhale, come back to your twist. If you wanted to do a couple actively and then sort of hang out in the twist, that's okay. As you're hanging out in your twist, if you want to take some time there to just breathe with it. With every inhale, you want to think about creating length through the right or left side of the body, excuse me. So really reaching out through those left fingertips. With your exhale, you want to allow that left shoulder to track down towards the floor. So you're going to start to create more twist within the spine. There's going to be a little bit more torsion there. So be mindful. Try not to force anything. When you're ready, we'll switch sides. So inhale as we lift. This time, just take the left hand behind you and let the knees sway side to side. And so as we take our hip swivels, the windshield wipers with the knees from a seated position, if the hips feel a little bit restricted in their movement, you want to give them a little bit more space. You want to open the angle up on the joint. So you walk your hands back, lean towards your hands. And that's going to open the angle on the hip joints, and it's going to give them a little bit more space with which to move. Maybe that feels a little bit more comfortable. If you want to challenge the hips a little bit, we sit up a little bit taller and we start to close the angle on the hip so that in our middle position here, we start to really max out that hip flexion. Now the next time that the knees lower down into your left, square your chest towards that left leg. And we go shoulder cards right side. So we'll start to take that right arm overhead. Once you find your end range of motion, start to internally rotate the shoulder. So again, we go palm and elbow away from the body. Really think about rotating from that upper arm bone so that you really feel it in the shoulder, and then start to trace your circle. You got it. And we want to continue to rotate, thumb down. You got it. Reaching back as far as you can. So when you complete this, you want to feel the back of the hand facing towards your body. Reaching back and up. Make sure you really target that shoulder extension, trying to keep the shoulder blade depressed. Yeah. And then externally rotating the shoulder or rotating thumb up as you bring your bicep towards your ear. And again, just taking your time. Go for a couple more like that. Last one here, and then we'll add in our twist. And so as you bring that right arm back overhead, again, we'll bring it down to about chest level, chest height. Going for your twist, you're going to take that right arm, reaching towards the back of your mat to the outside of the left thigh. Again, you can lower if that feels good. You can keep it active. Or you can just stay with your twist. So yogi's choice, whatever feels best for you. If you're flowing, try to move with your breath. Now, find your inhale. You want to approach the twist through the exhale. If you're choosing to hold here, again, with every inhale, you're thinking about lengthening through that right side of the body. With every exhale, letting that right shoulder roll forward and down, almost like you're trying to square your chest towards the floor as best you can. Last breath here. When you're ready to come out of the twist, we come up to our seat. You can take that right hand behind you. Again, let the knees sway. As the knees sway, we can add on to our flow a little bit. So as the knees lift and lower, try to square your chest towards your lead leg. So as the knees lower right, you want to feel that left hip pulling forward. As the knees lower down into your left side, squaring your chest towards the left leg, towards the lead leg, you want to feel that right hip pulling forward. If you wanted to add in your twist into this flow, you're more than welcome to. If you wanted to add in a little pigeon stretch in this deer pose variation, you can also play with a little forward hinge. If you're going to play with that pigeon variation, you want to think about leading with the chest. So poking the chest forward and poking your bum out behind you as you hinge. Notice how I'm not rounding or flexing through the spine, not creating a turtle shell back there. We want to try to maintain length through the spine. If you want to get creative and just kind of play around with it, you can throw it all together. Find a little pigeon stretch. As you come out of that pigeon, we can go for our twist. When you're ready, bringing the knees to center, heel toe the feet to come together. Maybe about hip distance apart, hands behind you. You can play with finger placement, so you can go fingers towards the heels of the feet. Fingers can point out towards the side edges of your mat. So however you want to bias your shoulders, but we're going to go for our reverse table. And so this is going to be a little bit of a deeper stretch for the shoulders in extension. So as you press into the palms with your inhale, pressing into the feet, lifting the pelvis as high as is comfortable for your shoulders. Exhale, you can lower if that feels good. So if you want to keep it flowing, move with your breath. Inhale, we lift. And exhale, we can lower. If you wanted to stay and linger with your stretch, if that feels good, you can stay here. If you wanted to deepen the stretch a little bit, option to track your knees towards the top of your mat. This is going to bring the shoulders into deeper extension. So just be mindful when you're playing with that increased depth of stretch. Taking a break when you need. Last one here. When you're ready, allow the knees to lower right. Now as the knees lower right, we're just going to play with isolating the left hip in internal-external rotation. So for your external rotation, you're going to start to lift away from the ground, rolling onto the sole of the foot. You want to go as far as you can go without letting that right leg move. And exhale, we lower. And so as you externally rotate the hip, you can heel toe that left foot to come a little bit closer towards your center line. You want to press into that left foot, press into the right palm, and start to lift your bum, start to lift your pelvis. From here, see if you can lift that right foot. A little bit of balance. When you're ready, exhale, sit. We can switch sides. Let the knees sway. Internal, external rotation of the right hip. Take your time, just like we did on the other side. We open the hip up. Go as far as is comfortable for you without letting anything else move. Exhale, we close. As we open that hip up, again, you can heel toe that right foot towards the center of your mat. Pressing into your right foot, pressing into your left palm, lift your bum. Lift up. Foot can lift to balance. And then we sit. We'll do that again, switching sides, we'll move on. And so when you're doing this, if you need to create a little bit more space between your body and the ground, feel free to use a block or any other prop that you may have at home, maybe a book or something like that, or a stack of books. We find our lift, we find our balance. Now taking that right leg, see if you can start to swing that right leg underneath you, pivoting onto your toes, and then come back to your deer pose. We'll do that one time on the other side, and then we'll build off of it. You can play with extending the leg if you choose. Coming back to your seat. Adding on. This time as you swing that right leg underneath you, find your tabletop. And we're going to be facing towards the back of our mat here. And just beginning to mobilize the spine a little further with our cat-cow. Moving with your breath. As you inhale, tailbone reaches up, chest lifts up, gaze can look up. As you exhale, tailbone tucks underneath you, chin tucks in towards the chest, spine rounds up. Move with your breath, try to let it flow, be fluid, rhythmic in your movements. I want to make smooth. Notice how when you can really harmonize breath and movement together, notice if your movements start to feel a little bit more fluid, a little bit more natural. Yeah. If you wanted to play with a little bit of lateral flexion in the spine, option to create like a little bit of a side bend, or you can play with shifting back, shifting forward a little bit. You can explore with that cat-cow. And we'll go for a couple more like that. At the bottom of your exhale, finishing with that cat pose, we're going to play with a little core strengthener. We're going to elevate our table, coming to a bit of a bear crawl position. So the toes will tuck under, the knees will lift just to hover an inch or two above your mat. You're going to start to take that left heel down so the sole of the foot is flat. The left palm will lift. Coming back to your deer pose, swing that right leg under you. 90-90 with the legs, let them sway. When you're ready, switching sides, we're going to go same thing. Externally rotate the right hip, foot flat. Press into your right foot, press into your left palm, find your lift. Left leg's going to swing underneath you. Coming back to that tabletop. Go for your cat-cow. We'll just do a few here. And then we'll start to prep the wrists a little bit. We'll mobilize the wrists. And so I'll face the camera for this just so that you can see. Last one with your cat-cow. So as you find that exhale, let the spine come to neutral. Find your inhale here. To bring that stretch into the flexors of the wrist, you're just going to start to shift your weight forward without letting the elbows bend. And so you can shift forward, you can shift back. If the wrists feel pretty strong, pretty resilient here with your stretch, they're responding well to the stretch, to the load that you're placing into them. You can play with a little bit of lateral movement within the shoulders. You can let the shoulders shift side to side, or you can play with tracing a circular pattern. When you're ready, finding your child's pose. We'll flow with that. Inhale to lift. Come to your modified plank. As you exhale, you can shift your weight forward to bring a little bit of stretch into the wrists. Inhale, we shift back. Exhale to sit the hips back and down towards the heels for your child's pose. Yeah, go for one more. Now, the next time that you come to that modified plank, we'll prepare our chaturanga, modified chaturanga. And so you want to create a little bit of posterior pelvic tilt, a little bit of lumbar flexion so that we're holding strong through the abdominals. Find your inhale here, and as you exhale, begin to bend the elbows, lowering, leading with the heart, not the belly button. As you come down to the belly, start to engage the legs. Press down into the tops of your feet. Strong legs for your baby cobra. As you inhale, the chest lifts up and away from your mat. The shoulders roll back and together. A little to no weight in the hands. So we want to start to create some activation through our back muscles, through those spinal erectors. So we don't want our arms, our hands doing all the work here. Last breath. Find your inhale. Notice how that inhale creates the lift through the chest naturally. And exhale, we can lower gently, pushing back to your child's pose. Go for a couple more like that, but let it flow. So Krista's going to just move with the breath. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Pressing into the tops of the feet. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale to lower. Inhale, push the hips back towards the heels. Exhale to your child's pose. We'll go one more, and you can stay with the baby cobra, or option for the upward facing dog. For your upward dog, we want to stay strong through the legs. we start to peel the chest away from the floor, but pressing into the palms, you're going to pull the chest forward and through between those palms. Shoulders drawing back. It's almost like you're trying to pull the chest forward. And we want to keep the legs so strong and active that the knees and thighs lift up off your mat. When you're ready, finding your downward facing dog, the toes will tuck under, sitting bones press up and back in space, creating an upside down V shape with the body. And this is your first downward dog, so you can maintain a little bend in the knees if it allows you to create more length through the spine. If you'd like to play with pedaling out the feet or pressing the heels towards the floor, you're going to start to create more stretch through the backs of the thighs, through the backside of the legs. And so, just as an FYI, if you're pressing the heels down towards the floor, they don't have to reach all the way down. So long as you feel the stretch where you're trying to create it, you just want to follow your line of tension. If you're pedaling out the feet, try to move with your breathing, slow things down, no rush. And so, building on our flow, from that downward dog, with your inhale, shift your weight forward, high push-up, high plank. Now you can lower from here, or if you want to bring the knees down, you can. Exhale to find your chaturanga. And so if we're lowering, again, body comes down together, all the way down to your mat. Train that full range of motion, pressing into the tops of the feet. Inhale, baby cobra, or option for the upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Toes tuck under, sitting bones press up and back in space. Again, take a moment, pedal out the feet, shake out the legs a little bit. And when you're ready, inhale, lift the heels up. Bring a little stretch in through the toes, tops of the feet. Exhale, lower the knees. Tabletop. We're going to elevate that table, toes tuck under, knees lift to hover. Coming back to your deer pose, take the right heel down, sole of the foot flat so we can balance. Right arm lifts, you're going to slide that left leg underneath you. Find your seat. Deer pose, let the knees sway. And so again, if you want to let the knees sway back and forth a few times, go for that. When you're ready, knees to center, we're going to heel toe the feet to come together, or again, hip distance. Find your reverse table, press into the palms. Inhale, we lift. Exhale, we can lower. And when you're ready, next time that you lift, this transition may be a little bit tricky, but start to walk your hands towards your heels, coming to your yogi squat, malasana. So you can bring the hands forward. You can use your blocks to support your hands. From here, when you're ready, we're going to come into our forward fold. For your forward fold, you're going to begin to press the sitting bones up. Heel toe the feet to come together. Exhale, pour over your thighs. Now taking a moment here, you can use blocks to support your hands. If you can bring your fingertips down to your mat, that's okay. You want to bend the knees as much as you need to reach down to your blocks or to the floor. And any variation of your forward fold here that you'd like to take, if you want to take a ragdoll variation, you can reach for opposite elbows, let the upper body hang heavy. If you want to shake out the shoulders a little bit, we can cradle those elbows side to side, or you can create like a swimming motion with your elbows. If it feels good to loosen up through the neck, maybe a gentle sway of the head, yes. A little sway of the head, no. And we'll start to build a flow. So when you're ready, you can keep your blocks handy. As you inhale, find a half forward bend. Start to lengthen the chest forward and up, coming up to a nice flat back. As you exhale, start to sit the hips towards your heels, come back to your yogi squat. Now if you have to adjust your feet on the fly, heel toe them apart, that's okay. If you wanted to keep them apart, as you come back to your forward fold, you'll just be taking a little bit more of a wider legged forward fold, and that's okay, no worries. Go with your breath, we'll play with that a couple more times. And so Krista's going to continue to use the blocks. If you were a little bit more quote-unquote advanced or more of a seasoned yogi, that's probably a better word to use, you can try to do this without support from the hands, without your blocks. So as you inhale, just pressing the sitting bones up. Exhale, finding that forward fold. Inhale, lengthen the chest forward. Exhale, sit to your squat. We'll go for one more like that. As you sit to your squat, keep your blocks handy. With your inhale, start to lift the heels up. Start to rock up onto the toes, and then rocking back down to the soles of the feet. So playing with a little bit of ankle mobility here. Just want to work within the capacity of your ankles. Well, next time you lift, you can start to play with going all the way over the toes, pushing the knees forward and down towards our mat. You don't have to touch all the way down. You're just going as far as is comfortable for you. And rocking back. Now, if you want to put it all together, as you rock back to your squat, come to your forward fold. Sitting bones reach up. Exhale, fold over the thighs. And we can put that all together. Inhale, carry the chest forward. Exhale, sit to your squat. Inhale, heels lift. Exhale, push the knees forward and down. We'll go for one more. If you, again, want to challenge yourselves, maybe no hands, take your time with it. Heels can lift. We want to push the knees forward and down. Back to the squat, to the forward fold. Now as you make your way back to your forward fold, take a little bend in the knees, contract through the abdominals. We're going to start to curl ourselves up to standing, slowly, mindfully. Find your exhale here. If it feels good to roll out the shoulders a little bit, go for that. When you're ready, sweeping the arms overhead, we're going to try to challenge the shoulders. So you want to reach for the back of your mat as you sweep up. As you take those arms overhead, think about externally rotating the shoulders, connecting the pinky fingers. And we'll reverse our movement. So sweeping the arms down, start to internally rotate the shoulders, rotating thumbs down, take a bend into the elbows, tuck those hands behind the low back. We'll go for another one like that. Now as you do this, just make sure that the spine doesn't start to arch. We want to try to keep the spine relatively neutral. As the arms come overhead, we'll find our chair pose. So you can stay with a wide space between the feet, a little wide-legged chair pose as you sit. If you want to bring your feet together, that's okay too. Breathe. Sitting into that chair, want to try to keep those arms reaching up. And when you're ready, we'll go palms to heart center. I'm playing with a little bit of single leg balance and loading. Start to shift your weight towards your left foot. Come onto the right toes lightly. Start to hover that foot. Inhale, we're going to press up, stand. Exhale, we lower. Come back to your chair. Switching sides. Shift weight. Lift that opposite foot, press up. Exhale, we sit. Shift weight, we lift. Adding on. As you exhale, this time step your right foot towards the back of your mat, finding a kneeling lunge. So we'll bring the knee down, breathe. Hands can come to your blocks, or you can let the palms rest to the thigh. And so we're just starting to bring a stretch in to the front of the right thigh, hip crease. Breathing here. If you want to increase stretch, want to create a little bit more activation through the legs. So you want to think about pressing down into the top of that back foot, that right foot, without moving anything. You want to pretend like you're trying to drag that knee forward, or pressing down into both legs. It's almost like you're trying to scrunch your mat up between the legs. As you start to create that engagement, that isometric contraction, notice if it starts to ramp up that stretch. Last breath here. Counter pose will be our half splits. For your half splits, hands to your mat or to your blocks. You're going to walk your palms, shift your hips towards that back heel. You're going to extend through that front leg. You want to roll onto the heel of the foot. Breathing here. As you start to find that stretch, again, we don't want to create flexion through the spine, through the upper back. We want to think about carrying the chest forward, lengthening the chest forward, poking your bum out behind you. Breathing here. If you wanted to ramp up the stretch through the back of that left leg, you're applying gentle but active downward force through that left heel. So as you push into your mat, notice if that starts to engage the stretch reflex a little bit more. You can hang out here a little bit, a few more breaths if that feels good for you, or we can keep it flowing. When you're ready to flow, again, move with your breath. Inhale, walk the palms forward, shift the hips forward, kneeling lunge. Inhale, walk the palms back, shift the hips back. Exhale, half splits. So we can go for a few more like that. Now, if you wanted to challenge your mobility, so this is where your strength and your flexibility meet. We can lift the chest, we can go no hands, but take your time with it. As you push back through the front foot, roll onto the heel. You want to press down into the heel as you lower. It's going to act as your stabilizer. You can find your stretch. Coming back to your lunge, again, press into the heel of that front foot, and it's like you're pulling the pelvis forward and down into your lunge. So we can go for another one like that. As you come back to that kneeling lunge, we can go hands to mat or to blocks. Back toes will tuck under, start to press up through the back of the right knee and thigh. Power up that lunge, letting the pelvis sink forward and down here. And you can hold right here, or if it feels okay for you, option for your runner's lunge. The low belly will lift up and away from that left thigh. The arms start to reach back. Shoulder blades squeezing together, so we're looking to create that expansion through the upper chest, through the collarbones. You want to think about trying to draw that left hip back, right hip forward, almost like you're trying to scissor your legs. Breathing here. And when you're ready, find your inhale. Start to extend those arms overhead. We're going to find a half crescent lunge. Breathe. So we're creating a strong diagonal with the body. Last breath. Find your inhale. Exhale, we'll bring the palms down. Rock your way towards your back foot. Inhale to your forward fold. Breathe here. Just one. Let it flow. Inhale, carry the chest forward. Exhale, sit to your squat. Inhale, heels up. Push the knees forward and down. Coming back to that squat, find your forward fold. No rush from that forward fold. We'll begin to curl it up to standing. Palms sweep overhead. Try to challenge your shoulders in their movement. Exhale, sit to your chair. Breathe as you sit to that chair. We'll bring the palms together. Start to shift left. Press up. Chair pose. Exhale to lower. Shift weight. Press up. Left foot steps to the back of your mat. Back knee down, top of the foot flat. Find your stretch, breathing here. Again, you can play with it just like we did on the other side. Last breath here. When you're ready for your counter pose, we go half splits. So no rush to get there. We'll take the palms down. Inhale, walk the palms, shift the hips towards that back heel. You don't have to sit all the way to the floor. You don't have to sit all the way to your heel. You can maintain a little bit of space between your bum and the back heel. Whatever allows you to create greater length through the spine. Again, if it felt good on the other side, you can play with pressing down into your mat through the heel of that right foot. Play with your stretch. Breathe with it. Breathe into that line of tension. And when you're ready, we'll flow with it. Inhale, walk the palms forward, shift the hips forward. Exhale, find your lunge. Inhale, walk the palms back, shift the hips back. Exhale, half splits. So we'll go for a few more. Let it flow. In terms of principles, your inhale will initiate your movement, your transition, and your exhale guides you into the depth of your pose or your stretch. If you wanted to play with no hands, again, we can make it a little bit more active. Take your time with your movement. So it's about being able to control your body, being able to control your movement, especially through the eccentric or the downward portion. And just letting the hips function all on their own. Or you can continue to use your blocks. Last one here. As you come back to your lunge, palms to your mat or use your blocks, back toes tuck under, press up through the back of the left knee or thigh, let the pelvis sink, breathe. So again, you can stay with your low runner's lunge, your low lunge, coming into that runner's lunge. If it feels okay for you, press down into the right foot, low belly lifts up and away from the right thigh, arms reach back, breathe. When you're ready, next inhale, we're going to start to extend those arms overhead, half crescent lunge, strong diagonal through the body. With your next exhale, we'll bring the palms down. Rock your weight towards your back foot. Inhale to step it forward. Exhale here, forward fold. Breathe. Again, just one, let it flow. Inhale, half forward bend, carry the chest forward. Exhale, sit to your squat. From that squat, your variation, heels lift, knees push forward and down, coming back to your squat. Forward fold. Inhale, we'll curl it up to standing. Palms sweep overhead. Look up, reach up, grow tall. Exhale, sit to your chair. Breathe. We'll keep it flowing. Palms to heart center. Shift left. Just one. Inhale, we press up. Exhale, step back to your lunge. Create a slow controlled bend into the left knee. Right leg extends back. You can take the kneeling lunge or staying right here, runner's lunge. Arms start to reach back. We hold. Breathe. With your next inhale, extend the arms overhead, half crescent lunge. Hold strong here. You want to try to keep the biceps alongside the ears. We're going to create a twist. So you want to start to rotate left. Yeah. So twisting from that mid back, that upper spine, and really trying to keep those arms together as best you can. Holding here. From here, when you're ready, we're going to revolve our lunge. So as you exhale, bring the right palm down to the inside of that left foot. You can use your block to modify or palm to your mat, Yogi's choice. Breathe. With every inhale, you want to think about lifting up out of that right shoulder. It's rolling underneath you. As you exhale, left shoulder rolling open behind you to create more twist. Breathing here. Now, if you have your hand to a block, we're going to bring the back knee down and take your right hand to your mat. So you have nice, strong support for that palm. We're going to go for a side plank. So Krista will do the modified version of the transition. Want to keep the back knee down, and the left foot will step to the back of your mat. If you wanted to play with a more advanced variation from that revolve lunge, you want to think about rolling to the pinky toe edge of the back foot, and the left foot will step back to meet the right. Breathing here. From here, we're going to play with flipping this side plank. We're going to go for a wild thing. So modified. Krista's going to take a bend into that left knee. The foot's going to step to the outside of that right shin, and she's going to start to roll the chest, that heart space, open towards the sky. Breathe. If you're in that more advanced variation, left foot is going to step to the outside of that right leg, and we start to square the chest towards the sky. Breathe. From here, we're going to come back to our lunge. So you want to look down to that right hand spot you're landing. Left leg lifts. Exhale, it's going to step forward. You got it. From here, finding your warrior two. The back heel is going to come in and down to your mat. Pinky toe edge of that back foot parallel to the back edge of your mat. Start to window the arms overhead. Shoulders lift to stack over the hips. Arms come in line with the shoulders as you exhale, lunging towards that front foot. And you just want to make sure that the left knee and toes are pointing straight ahead, and that you can see your big toe to the inside of your knee. So that's just ensuring that we're not allowing the knee to collapse inwardly, valgus, but that we're really opening that hip up. Breathe. From here, we're going to find a side lunge. So you're just going to work within your capacities, straightening through that front leg, Lift the front toes, press into the heel. Again, pressing into the heel, that's your stabilizer. As you exhale, you're sitting back and down towards that right foot as far as you can control, as far as is comfortable for you. The deeper you sit, the deeper the stretch you're going to create through the back of that left leg. When you're ready, come back to your warrior two, driving up through that right foot. Exhale, find your warrior. We'll go for one more like that. Go with your breath. Adding on. As you sit back towards that right foot, this time bring your hands to your mat, pivot all 10 toes to the back of your mat. Breathe. When you're ready, press into the left palm, revolve your lunge. And so again, Krista will show the modified variation of the transition. The back knee will come down to your side plank. The right foot is going to step to the back of your mat. If we're doing advanced, we roll to the pinky toe edge of that left foot, and the right foot steps back. When you're ready, go for your wild thing. Right foot to the outside of the left shin, and then start to roll the chest open to the sky. You can play with your reach, you can express your pose however you choose. When you're ready, coming back to your lunge, right foot steps forward to meet that left palm. Warrior two, take the back heel down, pinky toe edge of the foot parallel to the back edge of your mat. When you're ready, windmill the arms, shoulders lift to stack over the hips, arms in line with the shoulders, find your warrior, breathe here. Again, maybe just checking in on the knee and toes. One more breath, and then finding your side lunge. Straightening through that front leg, toes lift. Exhale, sit back and down towards that left foot. Coming back to your warrior two, press up through that left foot. Exhale, find your warrior. Go for one more like that. This time as you sit back towards that left foot, again, start to pivot all 10 toes to the top of your mat. Walk that left foot out to your side, lizard lunge. So we're creating enough space for both arms to the inside of the left thigh. You can take the back knee down if you need to. Breathe. From here, when you're ready, we're going to step back to our high plank to find our chaturanga. And so if the back knee is down, you can bring that left knee back to meet the right for a modified plank and a modified chaturanga. Or back knee lifts, left foot steps back, high plank. Exhale to find your flow. Exhale, we lower. Inhale to find your back bend. Baby cobra, or option for the upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. When you're ready, inhale, left leg lifts, three-legged dog. Create lift, create length through that left leg. As you exhale, carry that left knee to the left elbow and step your foot to the outside of your palm. Yeah, coming to your yogi squat. Rock your way towards your back foot. The right foot's going to step to the outside of the right hand. Exhale, find your seat. When you're ready, inhale, sitting bones press up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen the chest forward, half forward bend. Exhale, sit to your squat. Just one. Inhale, heels lift. Play with pushing the knees forward and down. Coming back to your squat and to your forward fold. Curling it up to standing. Palm sweep overhead as you rise. Extended mountain pose. Sit to your chair. From that chair pose, we'll go palms to heart center. Shift right. Inhale, we press up. Stepping back to your lunge. Left foot steps back. Runner's lunge. Option for the kneeling variation if you choose. When you're ready, inhale, extend the arms forward, half crescent lunge. And when you're ready, Krista's going to create that twist, rotating right. And again, just doing your best to keep those biceps alongside the ears, arms together, like you're holding a block or like you're holding a beach ball between the hands. When you're ready, find your inhale. Exhale to revolve your lunge. Bring your left palm down to your mat or to your block. Right fingertips reach up. Breathe. When you're ready to go for your side plank, take your time. Right foot will step to the back of your mat. Right foot to the outside of the left shin. Open your heart up to the sky. When you're ready, finding your lunge, right foot steps forward to meet that left palm. Warrior two, take the back heel down. Inhale, windmill the arms overhead. Exhale, find your warrior. Side lunge when you're ready. Warrior two, press up through the left foot. Exhale, we land in our warrior. One more. And this last side lunge, as you sit back towards that left foot, find your pivot and revolve your lunge. Press into the right palm, left fingertips reach up. When you're ready to go for your side plank, left foot steps to the back of your mat. Flipping that plank, left foot to the outside of the right shin. Again, start to open that heart up to the sky, play with your reach. When you're ready, finding your lunge. Look down, spot your landing. Left foot steps forward. Prepare your warrior two. Back heel down. Inhale, windmill the arms. Breathe. When you're ready, side lunge. Straighten through the front leg, toes lift. Exhale to set the hips back and down. Inhale, we press up. Exhale, warrior two. One more like that. One more. This time as you sit back, finding your lizard lunge. Take all 10 toes to the top of your mat. Walk that right foot out to your side. Create enough space. Both arms to the inner thigh. When you're ready, right foot steps back to meet the left. High push-up, high plank, or modified. Find your chaturanga, find your flow. Exhale to lower. Inhale to find your back bend, baby cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts, three-legged dog. Again, create lift, create length. As you exhale, carry that right knee towards the right elbow and place your foot where you want it to go. Yeah. Yogi squat. Rock your way towards your back foot. The left foot steps to the outside of that left hand. And we start to sit the hips low. You got it. Breathe. Forward fold when you're ready. Sitting to your squat. Just one. Inhale, lift the knee, or lift the heels, excuse me. Shift the knees forward and down. Inhale, we rock back to our forward fold. Curl it up to standing. If you need to take a little moment for water, please do. And we're going to add a little bit of balance into that. We're going to continue to build on that flow. And so we'll do everything just once. Do everything just once, we'll make it count. And we'll try to make everything flow nice. So when you're ready, inhale, palm sweep overhead. Exhale, sit to your chair. Palms to heart center. Shift left. Inhale, we press up. This time going for your warrior three or your airplane. We're going to kick that right leg back to find our balance. Now palms can stay to heart center, or you can fly those arms alongside the body if you want to go for your airplane variation. Yeah. If you're creating a little bit more hinge at the hip, just know that it's the lift in the right leg that initiates that hinge at the hip, at the waist. So you want to envision your body as though it's like a teeter-totter. Now when you're ready, stepping back to your runner's lunge, take a slow controlled bend through the left knee. Try to float to your mat. You got it. Nice. When you're ready, half crescent lunge. Keeping it flowing, find that twist, rotate left. Breathe. When you're ready, revolve your lunge. Bring the right hand down. Left fingertips reach up, no rush. Side plank. Play with your side plank to your wild thing. Left foot steps to the outside of the right shin, open the chest up. When you're ready to find your lunge, look down, spot the landing, make it flow. Back heel down, warrior two. Side lunge, just one. As you sit towards that right foot, pivot, plant that left hand, revolve your lunge, go for your side plank. To your wild thing, right foot to the outside of the left shin. We flip that side plank. When you're ready, come back to your lunge. Right foot forward, back heel down, windmill the arms, warrior two, side lunge. As you find that side lunge, pivot all 10 toes to the top of your mat, lizard lunge, breathe. And so you can just step your left foot back to your plank, or option to play with a little hand balance here. We can use our block or our prop to support the hip. If you don't have that block or prop to support the hip, we can just play with lifting the foot, keeping the knee to the elbow, and maybe just playing with the chaturanga arms. As you bend the elbows, that left elbow is going to create more opening within the hip. If you have your block, you want to line it up with the right hip. And then you want to think about shifting your weight forward towards your hands, creating a little bit of hip extension, and seeing if you can float that back leg up. Yeah. And then when you're ready, find your high plank. Exhale to lower, chaturanga. Inhale to your back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. From that downward dog, so option to step to your squat, but if you want to play a little bit, option to take a bend into the knees and to hop to your squat, like a little frog hop. From your squat, inhale, sitting bones press up, exhale, forward fold, inhale, lengthen the chest forward, exhale, sit to your squat. When you're ready, heels lift, draw the knees forward, and down as far as you can go, as far as you can control. Shifting back to that squat, forward fold. From that forward fold, we'll curl it up to standing. Keep going with your flow. Palm sweep overhead as you rise, extended mountain pose, and exhale, sit to your chair. From that chair, palms together. Shift right, press up. Going to your warrior three, left leg starts to kick back. Now, if you feel like you're wobbly, the big toe of that left foot can come down to stabilize, and then you can come back to your balance. So you can keep your hands to heart center, palms to the waist if that helps, or again, we can find our airplane variation. Breathe, again, just making sure that we don't round through the upper back. We want to maintain lift through the chest, length through the spine. When you're ready, stepping back to your runner's lunge. You got it. Breathe, keep it flowing, half crescent lunge. And then start to create your twist. Revolve your lunge. Now, taking your variation, try to make it flow. Side plank to your wild thing. Coming back to your lunge to prepare your warrior two. Right foot steps forward, back heel down. Inhale to rise into that warrior. Find your exhale here. Side lunge, straighten through the front leg, toes lift. Exhale, we sit back. Find your pivot. Plant the right hand. Revolve your lunge. Side plank when you're ready. And flip that side plank. Wild thing. Coming back to your lunge. Take your time, try to control your movement. Warrior two. Back heel down, windmill the arms. Side lunge. Lizard lunge. We find our pivot, heel toe, or walk that right foot out to your side. Breathe, again holding here. We can keep our block handy for our hand balance. If you don't have a block, maybe you're not quite there with the hand balance, we can play with just lifting the foot, keeping the knee to the elbow, and then think about creating chaturanga arms. If you're playing with the hand balance, option to extend that front leg. When you're ready, step it back, high plank, to low, chaturanga. Inhale through to your back bend, exhale, downward facing. Nice. So again, Yogi's choice. You can step to your squat, you can hop. Option to play with a little bit of hang time if you can find it. Forward fold. Inhale, lengthen the chest forward. Exhale, sit to your squat. Inhale, heels up. Exhale, push the knees forward and down. Coming back to your squat, no rush, forward fold. From that forward fold, we'll curl it up to standing. Find your exhale here. You can take another moment for water. So we're gonna play with that flow one more time. You have your modifications, more advanced options. So we're gonna try to just make it flow nice one more time. So Krista's gonna do Krista's thing. We can sort of play with expressing our poses. If there are any other variations that are part of your practice, if you're a seasoned yogi, feel free to get creative, to explore, to play around, and don't be afraid to challenge yourselves and to struggle a little bit. A little bit of struggle, a little bit of sweat. Reconnect to the breath. When you're ready, inhale, palms sweep overhead. Exhale, sit to your chair. Palms together. Shift left. Inhale, we press up. Warrior 3, right leg kicks back. Hands, arms where you like them. When you're ready to step back to your lunge, take it slow. You want to float, you want to hover over your mat, just like a Ouija board. Half crescent lunge. Find your twist. Revolve your lunge. Side plank. Wild thing. Warrior 2. Left foot steps to the top of your mat. Take the back heel down. Inhale to rise. Find your exhale, side lunge. Keep it flowing. We pivot. We revolve. Side plank. To your wild thing. Finding your lunge. Warrior 2. Right foot steps to the top of your mat. Inhale to rise up. Find your exhale here, side lunge. Pivot. Lizard lunge. Yogi's choice. Find your vinyasa if you want to play with the hand balance. Option to play with the hand balance and let it flow. Hop or step to the top of your mat. Find your squat. When you're ready, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen the chest forward. Exhale, sit. Inhale, knees lift or heels lift, knees push forward, down. Rock it back to your squat. Forward fold. Curling it up to standing. Palms sweep overhead as you rise, extended mountain. Chair pose. Palms to heart center, last one. Shift right, we press up to your warrior 3, your airplane. When you're ready to step back to your runner's lunge, make smooth. Half crescent lunge. Create your twist. Revolve your lunge. To your side plank. To your wild thing. Finding your lunge, prepare your warrior 2. Let it flow, side lunge. You pivot, find your pivot, plant that right hand, revolve your lunge, side plank. To wild thing. Finding your lunge. Warrior two. Side lunge. Find your pivot. Lizard lunge, breathe. An option for one more hand balance if you want to play with it. And integrate into your flow. From that downward dog, again, Yogi's choice, hop or step to the top of your mat. Forward fold. Inhale, lengthen the chest forward. Exhale, sit to your squat. From here, you can sit to a block. If you're comfortable in your squat, that's okay. Taking the right hand to your mat into a second block, or if you can reach for the opposite shin or ankle, you can go for that. And playing with some thoracic rotation. As you inhale, the left fingertips are going to reach up, but think about leading with the shoulder, reaching up through that elbow, create that length through the left side, and then begin to extend to reach up through the fingertips. And when you're ready, we'll close that. And so we'll go for a couple more like that. Take your time with it. Inhale, shoulder, elbow, fingers. Exhale, curl it in, fingers, elbow, shoulder. One more. And as you open it up, if you want to create a little bit of a deeper stretch through that left side, start to extend that reach overhead. Think about drawing your bicep towards your ear, or we can take a bend to the elbow and you can just tuck your hand lightly behind the head. So Yogi's choice. With your exhale, we can lower. Now if you need a little bit of a break before we switch sides, just take a little forward fold. Breathe. Coming back to your squat when you're ready. Left palm to your mat, block. Or again, maybe reaching to shin or ankle. Same thing, times three. Three's a chunk. Shoulder, elbow, fingertips. Fingertips, elbow, shoulder. We'll go for a couple more like that. Go with your breath. Last one. Again, as you open up through that right side, if you want that deeper stretch, we can start to extend that reach, bicep alongside the ear. And as you close it up, walk your hands behind you. And just lower to a seated position. I'm just letting the knees sway side to side. Come back to those windshield wipers. As the knees lower down into your left, we'll find our pigeon stretch. So as the knees lower, you want to square your chest towards that left leg, sitting up as tall as is comfortable for that right hip. Again, you want to feel that right hip pulling forward. It's going to feel like you're trying to scrape your left hip back. You want to start to puff the chest forward. You want to poke your bum out behind you deliberately as you start to hinge at the waist, as you start to hinge forward. Now as you hinge forward, think about adjusting with every cycle of breath. So with every inhale, you feel the low belly, the low ribs, lifting up and over your thigh as you hinge. Yeah. As you continue to hinge and you find depth, I'll change my direction so you can kind of see. But if your body starts to pull your chest, your ribs to the outside of your left thigh, use your hands, nice wide base of support, to create a little bit of a shift. Now the shift is not going to be so much within the spine, you're going to feel that shift within the pelvis. So you're just sort of shifting your ribs, your chest, to the inside of that left thigh. And that might change the stretch quite a bit for you. Breathing here. We don't have to come all the way into our full depth. We don't have to lower to the forearms to find a good stretch. We want to continue to support ourselves with our hands, ideally, just to keep the stretch, the pose a little bit more active for that hip. So again, with every inhale, we're finding that lift, low belly, low ribs, up and over the thigh. Now, if there are any other little adjustments you can make to deepen the stretch, again, you just want to find your line of tension. You're looking to produce that stretch through the underside of the left thigh, back side of the hip. Sometimes we can play with sort of creating a little bit of twist, a little bit of rotation through the spine, and trying to take the chest towards that lead foot. If you wanted a different variation, you can bring the left forearm across the shin so the elbow rests just to the inside of the knee. You can grab a hold of that ankle, right palm to the sole of your foot. Again, with every inhale, you want to lengthen the chest forward. With every exhale, maybe gently drawing the chest towards your foot. So as you do this, it's almost going to feel like you're trying to drag your leg out from underneath you, but without anything moving. Last breath here. At the bottom of your exhale, we're going to come up to seated. Take the right hand behind you. Let the knees sway. The hips swivel. As the knees lower to your right, square your chest towards your right leg, and we're just going to play with isolating that left hip in internal external rotation. So again, take your time with it. If we start to open the hip up, we're rolling onto the sole of that left foot, go as far as is comfortable for you, and then we close. Go for a couple more like that. The next time that you open that hip up, kick that left leg towards the top of your mat and bring the sole of your right foot to the inside of that left thigh. Yeah, so with your inhale, interlocking the thumbs, we're going to lengthen upwards. As you exhale, reach forward as you fold over that left leg, just letting the palms fall where they may, so we don't have to reach to the foot, to the ankle, to the toes. And we especially don't want to carry any unnecessary tension in the upper body and the shoulders in an attempt to reach for the foot, for the ankle. So even if you just keep your hands alongside the leg, or you can sort of tuck your fingers underneath the calf muscle, that's okay. With every inhale, you want to feel yourselves creating length through the spine. So the chest lengthens forward, almost like your heart wants to hover above your knee. As you exhale, you can soften into a deeper stretch. Last breath here. When you're ready, we'll curl it up to seated. Again, you want to take your right foot towards the side edge of your mat. Palms down, bring a bend into the left knee. You're going to draw the heel in. Back to that 90-90, your deer pose. Let the hips sway. When you're ready, we'll go pigeon stretch right side. So as the knees lower right, square your chest towards that right leg. And sitting up as tall as is comfortable for that left hip. You're going to feel left hip pulling forward, right hip trying to scrape back. When you're ready to find your stretch, chest forward, poke your bum out behind you. We start to find that hinge. So you should be able to find that line of tension. You should be able to find the pull of your stretch straight away here. It might not be very intense, but it's there. And you want to follow that line of tension. And so as you continue to hinge, supporting yourself with the hands, and with every inhale, you want to think about creating length through the spine. So the low belly, the low ribs lift up and over the thigh as you hinge forward. And then again, doing your best to keep your chest, your ribs to the inside of that right thigh. And again, you can just stay here, or option 2, take the right arm across the shin, elbow rests to the inside of the knee. You can grab a hold of that left ankle. Left palm can stay to the foot. With every inhale, again, you want to create length through the spine, a little bit of twist, so chest is square to that left foot, and then we start to draw the chest towards the foot. This is going to create a very, very deep capsular stretch through that backside, that posterior side of that right hip. Back up to flat palms, take that left hand behind you, let the knees sway, let the hips swivel. As we swivel the hips, we're going to lower the knees down into the left. And then again, just isolating that right hip, we start to open it up, external rotation. And then we'll start to close it, internal rotation. As you open that hip up, kick that right leg towards the top of your mat. Left foot to the inside of the right thigh, interlocking through the thumbs. Inhale to lengthen upwards, create length through the spine. Exhale, we reach forward as we fold. And again, just letting the shoulders relax, let the shoulders fall away from the ears, let the arms be loose. Now, if reaching to your foot to your ankle comes naturally to you, there's nothing wrong with it. You might even find that you can reach beyond that foot. Option to use a block to the front of the foot if that's available to you. Bring that awareness back to your breathing. As you inhale, you're going to feel the chest lengthening forward naturally. And with every exhale, maybe the body softens and invites you to go a little bit deeper into your stretch, into your pose. Last breath here. When you're ready, and we'll curl it up to seated. Bring that left foot back out towards the side edge of your mat. Take a bend into the right knee. Draw the knee towards the shoulder, coming back to your deer pose. Again, let the knees sway side to side. No rush to get there, but we'll come onto our backs. As you curl yourself down onto your back, you can bring the knees in towards the chest. Give yourselves a little hug. Rock side to side. Any other intuitive movements or adjustments that feel good to your body here, you can play with that. Now, if you like to close out your practice with a little happy baby, or maybe a bridge pose, or if wheel pose is part of your practice, something like that. If there's anything maybe that you want to close out your practice with, you have all the freedom in the world to explore and to prepare your body for stillness, for your final relaxation. Awareness back to the internal environment, just becoming present to the current condition of your inner space. Become observant of the rhythm of the heart, the rhythm of your breath, maybe how the two sort of coincide together. We come back to those slow, steady inhales, slow, steady exhales. We want to cultivate and encourage a sense of calm, a sense of relaxation internally. And so you'll start to find, or maybe feel rather, the power that the breath has for this self-regulation, being able to regulate our internal environment. And as you feel your body beginning to relax deeply and fully here, slowly but surely we begin to allow ourselves to relinquish the control we have over our breath. Everything becomes passive, everything becomes effortless. Observing our internal processes, circulatory system, respiratory system, allowing the body to breathe how it naturally wants to breathe, and just sort of watching your body do its thing without you having to manage or to dictate anything. Stay with your corpse pose as long as you choose, as long as you'd like. Sealing off our practice together here, I'd like to thank you all for coming on to your mats. Peace and blessings to you all. As always, high fives and good vibes. Namaste, everyone.
Well, I'm an idiot. Mike, Mike was muted. Sorry, amateur hour. Happens to the best of them. Yeah, glad you guys liked it. Well, what I was trying to say when my mic was muted was that next class that we upload will probably be taught by Krista. And we'll do some more. Try to get a steady schedule. Once we get that schedule set up, we'll post it just so you guys have an idea, like in terms of consistency of when we'll be going live. Just in case you're not getting the notifications if they don't come through, or you know, those types of things. You never know with YouTube. But yeah. So just to go over some things. If you guys want to do morning classes or even little meditation ones, maybe half-hour meditations or anything like that, we can do that for you. We got some ideas for some specialty programming as well. So if there's like things that you wanted to work on specifically, specific joints that you need to work on, we can do little video compilations of that, almost like a little course. Different types of classes, yeah, and just let us know. You know, we'll grow it and improve upon it together. Yeah, and hopefully we can keep building this thing. That was pretty interesting little experiment for me. Felt really weird teaching to an empty room. Krista was with me, but teaching a whole class to that. Steph, good to see you, buddy. I'm glad that you made it out. Yeah, so let us know any suggestions, especially for class times. If there are certain times that work better for you guys or that you prefer, all good. And then one last question was the queuing. How did the queuing go? Did it make sense? Were you able to kind of flow with it without really having to look at your screen? These types of things. Personally, I think I say when you're ready a little too much, but you know, what are you gonna do? I'll work on it, I guess. Yeah, so one thing I wanted to do before we leave for the night, or before we shut her down for the night. So I have a little closing intention for you guys for your practice. I think it's kind of relevant considering the times, but for our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. So, thanks for coming out, guys. Peace and blessings to you all. High fives, good vibes. And yeah, feel free to support the channel, donations. Never obligated, but always appreciated. And have a good one, guys.